You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots. You know the actions you can take how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. It's Flag Day today. Hey, you got to love the idea of Flag Day. Although, if you saw the flags the way they were hanging at the White House over the weekend, may not quite be the way we were expecting them to fly. And it doesn't even follow the law, but hey, that's the way our world is right now. And happy birthday to the United States Army. June 14th, the Army's birthday. It is today. I don't know if we're singing. Actually, I'm not going to be singing. It would scare people. International Bath Day. So does that mean you only bathe one day a year? Is that what that means? I don't know if that's the idea there. I don't know about that one. Blood Donor Day. Now this issue, I've got these rolling veins. So even with the Red Cross, they kind of think I'm a pincushion. And yes, I am a big one, but that's a different story. But I'm not a big fan of that. So National Cucumber Day. Now, yeah, I'll go there. What the heck? So my wife likes the idea of the cucumbers, but a little bit different than many might say. Muddle them in some vodka. So I don't know if that was what they meant when they set this up as National Cucumber Day. But let's move right along and see. Strawberry Shortcake Day? Okay. That looks good, Josh. I don't know where you found that picture, but that's a great one. Look at that. You got strawberries and you got the shortcake. You got whipped cream in there. What else could you want? Well, maybe you have to top it off with a little bit of National Bourbon Day. What's your favorite? I used to drink Jack Daniels when I was younger. Was it Jameson? I think that's a bourbon, isn't it? I don't know. I have a friend of mine that likes Jameson. I'll move right along. National Bourbon Day. Okay. Let's see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 119 points. Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. It's all based on United Healthcare. United Health, their stock is way, way down today. Last time I looked, every other stock in the Dow 30 was up. United Healthcare is down 7.25% right now, 35 points, dragging the entire Dow Jones Industrial Average down with it. So talking about higher costs. Guess that means we're going to be paying more money. So the Dow's down 129. The S&P 500 is up 9. The NASDAQ is up 38. Gas prices down 59 cents. Down 59 cents a barrel on oil. I'm sorry, not gas. Oil down 59 cents because, we're in the formerly Golden State and we're at $4.88 for a gallon of gasoline. We're down about almost a penny from yesterday, but we're still up over the last week. Let's see, Josh, how are you guys doing? You're up too. $4.29 out there in Nevada. Oil producing state of Hawaii, $4.73. So they're cheaper than we are here in California. Of course, we like to tax here in California. $3.59 is the national average. And let's take a look. Our tremendous underwriter Lori's at $3.13 a gallon. $3.13. Unbelievable. But, we get to deal with these prices out here. Get to hear about Gavin Newsom out there talking about homelessness. Just Gavin Newsom. Can you imagine Gavin Newsom went on the Sean Hannity show? But he's not running for president. Just ask him. Does anybody really believe Newsom? You don't believe Newsom at any time, but that's a whole different thing. Mr. Norton is a Jim Beam guy. Okay. Jim Beam for Jim Norton. Okay, we're there. Knob Creek, Knob Hill, isn't that one of them? Knob something or another. Okay, that we're going back into talking about the bourbons again. But I digress. I get these squirrels that pop in over here every once in a while, and I end up going off on a tangent. But let's get back to it. Hey, how are you doing on the newest one that we're coming out with? So yesterday I shared a little bit of a sneak peek. We'll talk about it again later today about student loans. But how about solar? Do you have have you thought about solar for your house? Coming out with all kinds of good stuff for you. So Ron Siegel Radio, we have aligned with a solar company now for your benefit. They do a great job. I've been watching them for about 6 months now, maybe a little longer, seeing how they're doing. And I think that they're good for you. So if you want, of course, we've got a benefit for you on there. I don't make money from this stuff. That's not what I do. But hey, the bottom line is anybody we've got for the 90 days that we're going to do this solar promotion, and you're going to get a Visa gift card after install, $500. What do you think about that one? We'll have to set up a QR code. I'll probably do RSR Solar if it's available. I haven't bought it yet. Don't go jumping in there and buying it ahead of me. RSR Solar. And we're going to get that. We'll have all the details for you, who you need to call, who you need to talk to. Yes, they've got the lease option, which is not for most people. Who is the lease good for? Seniors. That's who the lease is good for. Almost anybody else, go with where you're buying it. And my suggestion is to look into it in such a way that you've got a 5-year payoff on it. Now, they do loans based on 5, 10, 20, 30 years. But I want to make sure that you're saving enough money that it pays for itself over a 5-year period. Why? Technology. These solar panels are getting better and better, but what are they going to be like 5 years from now? I don't know, and neither do you, and neither do the solar companies. So make sure that you're seeing a benefit over that time period. Also, make sure that you're getting a little bit of extra power if you've got any thought in your mind about following Gavin Newsom's idea of having solar cars. I would also be looking at, if it was me, I would be looking at a battery station or a generator. That way, when the state runs out of power, as they do on a regular basis, well, then you've got a backup generator where you're storing some extra power that you're creating. So just throwing a couple of those thoughts out there to you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about the home loans. We're going to talk about a drop in equity does not mean low equity. How much will my credit scores increase if I pay off collections? Are reserves required for a VA loan? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make that call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Way too much green on the screen from yesterday. But hey, let's take a look at it. 30-year conforming loans yesterday. This is what OBMMI tells us about rates. No APRs, no points paid, no points received, just the raw interest rate on average that they locked at. 30-year conforming was up a little bit, 6.70. 30-year jumbo, that was up a bunch. 6.92. 30-year FHA up a little. 6.641. The USDA 30-year rural areas, generally no down payment, 6.521. That was down a little bit. And the 30-year VA loan, that was down a little bit, 6.413. Let's move to today and see what's happening. The 10-year Treasury is down 4 basis points, 3.79 is the yield. S&P 500 is up 14.62. And the mortgage-backed securities are down just a little bit. Down 5 basis points means interest rates are up a little. And that shouldn't be going that direction, shouldn't be going down today. when we got good news. So let's take a look. And it kind of ties in because we've been getting some very, very bizarre reports on things. Let's see. Let's take a look at this one here. Stocks lower, mortgage bonds slightly higher after another favorable inflation report. The response in bonds has been bizarre, as the sharp declines in inflation would normally be very favorable for bonds. Looking back to yesterday's CPI report, headline CPI fell from 4.9 to 4%, while bonds initially had a positive reaction. They sold off as the day went on. David Rosenberg said, "Who knew that the Treasury market of all asset classes would disapprove of the third most intense inflation decline from a peak in the past 7 decades? In just 11 months, the inflation rate has plunged 510 basis points. That would be 5.10% to 4% on the news." Peter Bookvar and Lacey Hunt shared the same sentiment. "We know how important shelter costs are in the CPI, and interestingly, if you removed shelter, CPI would be up 2% year over year and up 1.6% annualized over the last 6 months. We know how badly this number has been lagging and has been elevating the inflation numbers, but the bottom line is that inflation is falling at a good clip. If you were to replace the shelter costs with more real-time rental and housing index figures, as well as used car data with the Manheim Index headline, inflation would be at 2% and core would be at 1.5%. You can always make numbers say whatever you want them to say. Today we get the producer price index. The May producer price index report showed that overall producer inflation decreased by 0.3% in May, which was even lower than the 0.1% drop expected. Year over year, producer inflation fell from 2.3 to 1.1, which was much lower than the 1.5% anticipated and the lowest level since December 2020. Core rate strips out food and energy prices, rose 0.2% in line with estimates. Year over year, core inflation declined 3.2% to 2.8%, which was cooler than estimates of 2.9%. BLS said over 40% of the May increases in prices for final demand services can be attributed to margins for autos and auto parts retailing, which rose 4.2%. As I've shared with you before, the big news is going to be the Federal Reserve's meeting later today, or their announcements later today, not the meeting, because they've been meeting since yesterday, but their announcements is going to be the big issue. So 11 o'clock our time, we're going to get their Fed announcement. They're going to tell us what's going on. And then at 11:30 our time, that's when the real news comes out. That's when we're going to see the information from them. And we're going to hear about what the Federal Reserve is up to, what their thinking is, what the chairman's commentary is. That's what we're going to get at that time. So we're going to be watching that. That's going to be the key issues for you, is what does the Federal Reserve have to say? And they constantly are giving us data. Get all of the different Fed presidents and whatnot coming out and giving us their information and what they're thinking. But then the bottom line is we need to understand what the commentary is in the actual meeting. We want to know where their thinking is, what they're doing, what their future is. What are they forecasting? When we get that data, that's where it really starts to help us understand what the markets are going to be doing and what their plan is. We want to know, do they plan on increasing rates? Do they see the economy like we see the economy? Are they looking at it through a different lens? What's their point? That's the Mortgage Minute, again, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make that call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So let's chat about where the markets are, what they're doing, where they're going. And we get some great data every month from our friends over at Keeping Current Matters. And it is sourced. Every bit of it has a source on it. One of the issues that we're looking at right now is What's driving our mortgage rates? Historically, when we look at mortgage rates, we're looking at a 30-year mortgage, and it generally tracks the 10-year mortgage on a regular basis. They kind of track each other hand in hand. And right now, I'm looking at a 30-year and let me go back to history first. We'll give you this history lesson, and then we'll give you the update. For 50 years, the 30-year mortgage rate basically been about a 1.2 spread versus the 10-year treasury. So if you look at the 10-year treasury, and just hypothetically, it's not, but let's say the 10-year treasury was at 4, we would see mortgage rates at 5.72, give it right around that range. That's the average. But wait a second. Right now, we're looking at a 2.96 spread. So again, go back to the same thought. If we had the mortgage rates if the 10-year treasury was at 4%, and this 2.96 spread, that comes out to a 6.96 mortgage rate. Think about that concept. That's what we're curious about. It's more of kind of ties in with what the analogy that I was using during the mortgage minute about a bizarre market. Why is the market not having this issue? Why are we about 3.25 spread right now instead of the 1 3/4 spread? Why is that? Well, maybe it's just because the market doesn't believe which direction we're going. Maybe it's the market is looking at it and saying, there's more to this. There's outside factors. Well, we know we've got problems in the market with the regional banks. We know that the Federal Reserve, well, the only thing I can say about the Federal Reserve, you've heard me say it many.
Idiot.
I know.
Idiot.
So the Federal Reserve, they're looking at backward data. So the markets are looking and saying, well, what is the Fed going to use this time? Because they're not using current data. They've got, well, if they had nothing at all, I mean, they've got economists there, right there. None of them have work experience. None of them have ever signed the front of a paycheck. None of them understand going and getting a real job, because very few of them ever had, well, I think 4 of them worked for schools, and the rest of them have only worked for the Federal Reserve. Only. So they're do you think Washington, D.C. has any area of reality? No, that's not what they do in Washington. They don't live in the real world. They live in their little bubble that they're in. So they're not looking at, what's it costing you to live? I'm on a social group, and one of the things that I'm seeing in there a lot is people getting notices to leave their rentals. Why? Well, is it somebody wanting to sell because of how much equity they have? Could be. Somebody wanting to get out of California? Seeing that a lot. What's the issues? Getting rid of rent. Maybe it's worried about government regulation. They start looking and you see, okay, in Los Angeles, there's not a reason. You can't give me a good reason to own investment property in Los Angeles. None. In Los Angeles, no way in the world are we going to be looking at an investment property. Too much regulation. I mean, why should somebody pay you rent other than the moral issues of it? Because once they're in, you can't get rid of them. The government has set it up so that the renter can never be evicted, or rarely, if ever. So that whole issue starts posing a whole nother set of problems. That's going to end up, putting more buyers out there. It's going to push the values down. If people think that they've already peaked out at the value of a piece of real estate, do you think they're going to continue holding it? What would be the benefit? Well, maybe you get a little bit of depreciation. So the big issue becomes our spread on these. Which way is it going to go? Are the 10-year treasury going to go up? I don't see a lot of catalyst for that, although there is a lot of short interest in the options market. A lot of short interest on 10-year treasuries. That means that a lot of smart money is banking on that going down. So got to watch all of these different issues to see what's going on there. I'm looking at a quote, Odetta Cushy. It's reasonable to assume that the spread and therefore mortgage rates will retreat in the second half of the year. The Fed takes its foot off the monetary tightening pedal and provides investors with more certainty. However, it's unlikely that the spread will return to its historic average of 170 basis points, as some risks are here to stay. That's, again, Odetta Cushy, Deputy Chief Economist at First American. So we're going to watch that for you. We're going to keep an eye on that. So if you have questions about it, one of the things that we're talking about a lot is our two-step. And we're going to talk about that equity in just a second. But make sure you go and look at our video, rsr2step.com, rsr2step.com. If interest rates are where they are right now. But we know that people are adding more to their credit card debt, auto debt, student loan debt. Why don't you consider, especially if you've got private student loans, federal student loans, don't convert those to private. But there might be some advantages if you take some of your home equity and pay that. But make sure you go and look and understand the RSR two-step, because we take into account in that a reduction of mortgage rates, which frequently happens during a recession. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we've got Your Credit. We've got a real-time real estate segment. We've got a drop in equity doesn't mean low equity. How much will my credit scores increase if I pay off collections? And our reserves required for VA loans. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. A drop in equity does not mean low equity. That is our subject today. You may see media coverage talking about a drop in homeowner equity. What's important to understand is that equity is tied closely to home values. So when home prices appreciate, you can expect equity to grow. And when home prices decline, equity does too. Here's how this has played out recently. Home prices rose rapidly during the unicorn years. That gave homeowners a considerable equity boost. But those unicorn years could not last forever. The market had to moderate at some point, and that's what we saw last fall and winter. As home prices dropped slightly in the back half of 2022, equity was impacted. Based on the most recent report from CoreLogic, there was a 0.7% dip in homeowner equity over the last year. However, the headlines reporting on that change aren't painting the whole picture. The reality is, while home price depreciation during the second half of last year caused equity to drop, the data shows homeowners still have near record amounts of equity. The graph that we're going to show you helps illustrate this point by looking at the total amount of tappable equity in this country going all the way back to 2005. Tappable equity is the amount of equity available for homeowners to access before hitting a maximum 80% loan-to-value ratio. As the data shows, there was a significant equity boost during the unicorn years as home prices rapidly appreciated. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of the socials, or our ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing the unicorn years as home prices rapidly appreciated. That would be the pink bars of the graph. Someone might say that it's a little fancier color than that. I just call it pink. Here's what's key to realize. Even though there's been a small dip, total homeowner equity is still much higher than it was before the unicorn years. Take a look at those numbers on there. $9.3 trillion in home equity. 2005, there was $4.9 trillion. There's more good news. Recent home price reports show the worst home prices declines are behind us, and prices have started to go up again. Selma Happ, chief economist at CoreLogic, explains, quote, home equity trends closely follow home price changes. As a result, while the average amount of equity declined from a year ago, it increased from the fourth quarter of 2022 as monthly home price growth accelerated in early 2023, unquote. The last part of that quote is particularly important as the piece of the puzzle the news is leaving out. To further emphasize the positive turn we're already seeing, experts say home prices are forecast to appreciate at a more normal rate over the next year. In the same report, HEP puts it this way. The average U.S. homeowner now has more than $274,000 in equity, up significantly from $182,000 before the pandemic. Also, while homeowners in some areas of the country who bought a property last spring have no equity as a result of price losses, forecasted home price appreciation over the next year should help many borrowers regain some of that lost equity, unquote. And even though Odetta Cushy, Deputy Chief Economist of First American, references a slightly different number, Cushy further validates the fact that homeowners have a lot of equity right now. Quote, homeowners today have an average of $302,000 in equity in their homes, unquote. Remember, that's a national number. Our numbers here in Southern California, probably higher than that. That means if you owned your home for a few years, you likely still have way more equity than you did before the unicorn years. And if you've owned your home for a year or less, the forecast for more typical price appreciation over the next year should mean your equity is already on the way back up. Bottom line, context is everything when looking at headlines. While homeowner equity dropped some from last year, it's still near all-time highs. Give me a call if you have any questions on this. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Remember, that's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by RSRmoney.com, RSRmoney.com. If you are one of those folks that bought in the last year, and you've also experienced some of those 6 Ds that we talk about all the time: diplomas, diamonds, diapers, divorce, death, default. If you got into the last 3, those are catalysts where you really might need to sell. We've got an investment firm that I talk to on a regular basis through Ron Siegel Radio, and they're always interested in helping folks. If you've got that negative equity, they might be able to help you out there, and you could sell the property to them, or they could take over the property. Don't go through the foreclosure. If any way possible, stay away from that. These guys will buy the property from you. Avoid that. Keep it off of your record. That way, when things turn for you, your situation improves. Well, then you're able to buy. You don't have to wait for that extended period to get financing. Now, there are loans out there that can get you financing right away. But the bottom line, we want to make sure that you're taken care of. That's why I've made arrangements with the investment firm. That way they're able to take a look and see. Maybe, I can't guarantee that they'll be willing to buy your property, but there's a high likelihood that they will. Got to make a call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. So let's continue chatting about some of the data that comes out of the monthly reports. National Home Ownership Month. New reasons to own your home is some of the information that's out there right now. Financial benefits of home ownership. You know, there's a lot of folks that I hear it on a regular basis. You know, Ron, interest rates are high. The affordability is low. I can't afford the exact house I want. Why should I buy a house and not just rent? Well, when you rent, you're getting no financial benefit from that. You're getting a roof over your head, better than a Coleman, better than the tent, but you're getting no financial benefit, long-term benefit. I think I looked up yesterday that in Orange County, California, the average over the last 63 years of home appreciation, 5.35%. Median home price is a little over $1 million. So that's saying, if my math is correct, that's about $53,000 a year in appreciation. Now, if your mortgage is, say, $5,000 a month, that's $60,000. You're getting $53,000 in appreciation. It's in essence, not exactly, and don't give me the FINRA rulings on all this, but just the simple man thought, or woman. You know, your property is appreciating at $53,000. It's costing you $60,000. That's about $7,000 to live in your house for the year. $7,000. That's what, $560 a month to have that house. And it's going to appreciate, continue to appreciate, because next year the appreciation is going to be more than $53,000. It's going to be, $58,000, something like that. So you're going to build equity. Now, rents have been going up a lot. We know that. They may have slowed a little bit, but they're still going up a lot. So you're going to have a stagnant expense. If you've got a 30-year fixed rate loan, there's only one way that expense can go is down. Why? Because it's a fixed rate loan. Now, if interest rates drop, you can restructure. If you've got a bunch of equity in your property, don't forget rsr2step.com. rsr2step.com. I say it over and over. Why? Because it's good for you. We did a scenario recently that a family was going to save $1,300 a month cash flow. Now, their interest wasn't changing a whole lot, but the duration of paying their debts off was massive. Okay, Ron, well, you took a 5-year or 6-year car loan and start paying it off over 30 years. What benefit is that? Well, it's giving you cash flow. You take that same money, the money that was being saved on that, roughly that $1,300 a month. Well, if you want, I don't recommend it, but if you want, you could make that as a principal payment on your mortgage. You're going to cut, 10, 15 years off of the mortgage that way. Why do I say that I don't recommend it? Well, I say talk to our friend Todd Halterman. When you talk to Todd, he can take that same money and invest it at a return that's greater than what your cost is on your mortgage interest. And then at the same point in time that you would have what we call a freedom point, where you'd have paid off your mortgage by making those advance payments, well, you're going to be able to write a check to pay it off. Now, there may be certain times that it benefits you to pay it earlier, to make some principal payments, but the concept here is, and that's just to jump ship on the amortization table a little bit. And that's, I know, getting into the weeds, but think about this. When you look at the amortization table, if you make a payment of equal to 4 of your payments, so say your payment is $2,500 a month, you get a bonus or a refund on your taxes of $10,000, and you put that onto your mortgage. That's going to jump you down 10 months on the amortization table. 10 months. You're going to be paying your loan off way, way quicker. If you want to see an amortization table to understand exactly how this works, give me a call at 800-306-1990. We'll put together one for you. We just need a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, and when you took out your mortgage and how much the original amount was. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, how much will my credit score increase if I pay off collections? Are reserves required for a VA loan? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. How much will my credit score increase if I pay off collections? Well, it's your one-stop, Ron Siegel Radio, your one-stop destination for all things finance. Today, we're tackling a massive myth about credit scores. Does paying off collections boost your credit score? We're going to give you an enlightening deep dive into this common conundrum. Credit scores, think of them as your financial passport in the world of loans and mortgages. And like any travel document, it can get a few stains over time. One of those potential stains is collection accounts. These pesky red marks can really put your score down. So it seems like a no-brainer, right? Just pay off the collections and poof, better credit score. Not so fast. Scoring models like FICO and Vantage Score are a little more complex than that. They consider many aspects: your payment history, your debt ratio, length of credit history, and more. And yes, collections are part of your payment history, but clearing them does not always clear up your score. You see, older versions of these scoring models still remember your collections even after you've paid. Kind of like a mischievous diary that keeps all your past secrets. Your collections might be paid, but the record remains and your score doesn't instantly go up. In fact, sometimes it may even go down because it re-ages. Don't get discouraged. There's some good news. Newer models like FICO 9 and Vantage 3.0 forget about paid collections, allowing your score to heal. If your lender uses these models, your hard work of paying off collections could indeed boost your score, but there's a heads up. Not all lenders use the latest models. Some still work with the older ones. So it's wise to figure out which model your potential lenders are using before you start crossing off those collections. Now let's talk about those pesky collection agencies. They're like stubborn door-to-door salesmen, relentlessly trying to get you to pay. But remember, you have rights. Don't let them bully you into anything. It's always a smart move to consult with financial experts to explore your options. So to cut through the confusion, does paying off collections improve your credit score? It can, but it's not an instant fix. Think of it as a part of a bigger strategy to nurture your score, along with maintaining low balances, making payments on time, and having a varied mix of credit. Remember, you might need some help here because there are negotiators that understand this, especially with collection companies. Our friends over at Blue Water Credit, you just go to creditsanitizer.com, creditsanitizer.com, and it puts you right through to our friends at Blue Water Credit. They understand how to negotiate these things. There are ways of negotiating that collections will come off your credit report immediately. Yeah, you can negotiate the payment and still have it come right off. Collectors will say, oh, we can't do that. Hogwash. It can be done. They can do it. It's just a matter of do they want to. Covered just the tip of the iceberg on managing your finances effectively. For a deeper dive into the world of credit scores, loans, and more, a lot of information on ronsiegelradio.com. A lot of information on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ron Siegel 1, youtube.com/Ron Siegel 1. That's the numeral 1. I highly recommend going there and subscribing and hit the notification bell. So when we post new things on there, Josh is putting stuff up there every day. So go there, RSR Money, ronsiegelradio.com and rsrmoney.com. All lots of resources, insights, and expert advice that can help guide you. And again, before you go, make sure to hit the like button on this and share it with your friends, family, and coworkers. That's the Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? So Borrow Smart segment for you, brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Borrow Smart, brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Are reserves required for a VA loan? Let's talk about VA home loans, all about reserve requirements. And if you've been watching our series on VA loans, if you have any questions that we haven't got to, let us know. If you're eyeing a VA home loan and navigating the sea of information surrounding it, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to shed light on one commonly asked question. What type of reserves will you need with a VA home loan? Stick with us as we break it all down to give you the confidence you need to move forward. First, let's talk about reserves. When we speak about reserves in the context of home loans, we're referring to the borrower's cash assets remaining after the closing of the loan. Why are these important? Lenders look at reserves as a safety net, a form of assurance that you can handle unexpected financial emergencies without defaulting on your loan. Now, with VA home loans, requirements are slightly different. Interestingly, the VA does not explicitly require borrowers to have certain reserves on hand. They focus more on residual income, the cash you have left after each month, after paying off major expenses. However, having reserves can make you a more attractive borrower and potentially offer some leeway if your residual income is on the borderline. Third point. And crucially, the amount of reserves you may need can also depend on the lender and the size of the loan. While the VA might not require reserves, certain lenders might. Larger loans, such as jumbo loans, may also require you to have more substantial reserves. Therefore, it's always beneficial to have open communication with your lender to understand the specific requirements. That's why you need to give us a call at 800-306-1990 and have a conversation. Let's see where you are, what you're looking to accomplish, and how we can help you accomplish that. Conclusion, understanding the reserve requirements for VA home loans can help make your path to homeownership smoother and less stressful. While the VA itself doesn't specify reserve requirements, having a safety net can strengthen your application and prepare you for unforeseen circumstances. To further explore this topic, or if you're all ready to dive into the world of VA home loans, do not hesitate to reach out. Visit us, ronsiegelradio.com, for more specific loan information. Drop by rsrvaloans.com. We're here to help guide you through your VA home loan journey. Until next time, keep aiming for your home ownership dreams. Thanks for watching. Found this valuable? Please share and subscribe to our channels for more educational content. And we'll see you next time on our Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. I think that's about all we have time for today. Josh, I couldn't have got that one any better if I tried. And I'm not even going to have a whole lot of extra work for you today, as I usually do. As always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.